동해 물과 백두산이 말을 닳도록. Well, that's my best impersonation trying to sing the South Korean anthem. Try to do that a little bit for these team profile videos. But the reason I started off that way is because whenever the World Cup, kicks off, one of the best things in the crowd atmosphere is the national anthem of countries right before kickoff. And I've always thought South Korea had one of the nicest sounding national anthems. I love when the camera pans out to the crowd, and you see just this huge mass of people just unfurl a large South Korean flag. I think it's very nice. I think South Korea has one of the prettiest sounding national anthems, and they have a pretty cool distinctive flag as well. So South Korea 2018, let's get into it. Asia's by far and away most decorated team. They have made 9 appearances in the World Cup, and this will be South Korea's 10th overall, and moreover, their 9th consecutive appearance, making them stand out on a short list of only 6 or 7 other countries to qualify for every World Cup since 1986. But South Korea's record in the World Cup, they've only advanced past the group stages twice. Once in 2002, and we remember how that unfolded, a run to the semifinals, 4th place finish, the best team of any Asian country in the history of the World Cup, and that was on home soil. And then in 2010, they got to the round of 16. But 1954, way back in the 50s, South Korea made their first World Cup appearance, where they were lambasted out of the tournament very early. And then from 1986 all the way up until 1998, that's what, 4 consecutive World Cups, 4 consecutive World Cups, they had group stage exits. And what's more, in those 4 consecutive World Cups, South Korea did not register a single win from 1982 to 1998. And then 2002, under the guide of, who was their manager, that Dutch manager in 2002? Guus Hiddink? Yes. They go on to the semifinals. Now, a lot of people will say that was a little bit of sketchy business, how South Korea might have gotten there, but anyway, I digress. It's in the history books. They're World Cup semifinalists. That will never be rewritten. So in 2018, they look to improve upon their abysmal performance in Brazil 2014, where they finished bottom of their group with just 1 point and 2 losses. Widely considered South Korea's worst performance in a World Cup since the 1990s, because at least in 2006, they exited with 4 points, a respectable win, draw, and loss. But the thing with South Korea in 2018, they qualified in very similar fashion to their 2014 side. They limped across the finish line on the final match day with a 0-0 draw against Uzbekistan, and they finished just barely above what was a tight finish on the last day between South Korea, Uzbekistan, China, and Syria. And South Korea finished well behind first place winners Iran, who finished with, I believe, 7 points clear of them. South Korea went through a managerial change where they got rid of Ulia Stilka, and they brought in a local homegrown manager named Shin Tae-young to see them through their last 2 qualifying games, both of which ended in 0-0 stalemates. So it's not looking very promising for them yet again, because their performance in qualifying for this year was essentially a mirror image of what that 2014 campaign was. Looking at their friendly results since securing qualification, they defeated Colombia surprisingly 2-1. They drew with Serbia 1-1, drew with China 2-2, defeated North Korea, Japan, and Moldova before drawing with Jamaica, defeating Latvia, losing to Northern Ireland and Poland, defeating Honduras, losing to Bosnia and Herzegovina, and lastly, drawing with Bolivia. They now have one more game, which is tomorrow, their last friendly before kickoff against Senegal. So that will be their final game before they play Sweden on June the 18th, I believe. Going through the 23-man roster, and pardon me if I mispronounce any names, Kim Seong-woo, Kim Ji-hun, and Cho Hyun-woo as goalkeepers. Defenders Go Yo-han, Oh Ban-suk, Kim Min-woo, Kim Young-woo, Park Joo-hoo, Yoon Young-sun, Lee Yong, Jang Myeon-soo, Jeong Seong-hun, and Mong Chol. Midfielders Koo Ja-kyol, Ki Seong-young, Moon Seon-min, Lee Seong-wo, Lee Jae-sung, Jung Woo-young, and Ju Seong-jung. And forwards Kim Shin-wook, Son Heung-min, and Hwang Hee-chan. And to be honest, I'm not extraordinarily familiar with the squad, but there are a few names that stand out that I recognize some players. Koo Ja-kyol, I know he plays for FC Augsburg because that is a team in the Bundesliga. Let's see who else. I know Kim Shin-wook. He was an integral part of their other World Cup team. He plays locally, I think, for either Samsung Blue Wings or Jeonbuk Motors. I'm not sure. And then who can forget Sung Heung-min, the Tottenham Hotspur forward. He's had a great season for them. For my money, I think they could have beaten Juventus in that Champions League round of 16. I think he played a really important role there. He might just be the best individual Asian player in the world right now. You know, the 25-year-old, he scored 30 goals for Tottenham Hotspur throughout his tenure with this club. I think that if South Korea is going to stand any chance whatsoever coming out of this group, he needs to have a big tournament because they have been racked with injuries lately. A few of their players in the last several weeks are missing out. So it all the more puts the pressure on him. But let's look at South Korea's group stage opponents. So Germany, Mexico, and Sweden. Well, for starters, South Korea is the worst team in this group, though I've said on Twitter, I would argue, individually speaking, I think they're better than Sweden. Now, here's a key thing. Collectively, as a team, I think they're the weakest team in this group. Individually, because I look at Sweden, I don't really see many prolific goal scorers on Sweden's team. So I think South Korea, in that regard, they have that edge over Sweden. But anyway, the issue with South Korea is all of their games in this group are ordered in a way that are progressively more difficult. They start with Sweden, then they play Mexico, and then they round off with Germany. And this is the upteenth time I've said this. The order in which you play your group games is completely essential because South Korea goes into that final match playing Germany, and if they don't have at least 3 points from their first two games against Sweden and Mexico, are they honestly going to get something off of Germany? It's very unlikely. I think this is a South Korean team that is going to be outmatched in all three of their games, but they're going to be outmatched in three specifically different ways. Physical stature and winning the long balls in the aerial position and defending set pieces against a team like Sweden, big disadvantage. Playing against a team that plays a high-tempo, high-flaring, aggressive brand of football like Mexico, disadvantage. Going up against the defending world champions and an absolutely stacked squad like Germany in your last group game, tremendous disadvantage. So for South Korea, the main goal for them in this tournament, in my opinion, would just be to improve upon their 2014 performance. And what does that mean, Football Pharaoh? What does that mean, improve? Improve just means if they can put in a respectable performance and maybe narrowly miss out on a top 2 position, that's an improvement. If they can get maybe 3 or 4 points and just miss out, similar to how they did in 2006, that is an improvement. But if they were to finish with 1 or maybe 0 points in this group, that puts them on par with their 2014 finish, if not worse. For what it's worth, I get the sensation South Korea will actually do better than people think, but it's going to be something along the lines of a 2006 kind of appearance for them. I think the group is a little bit too much, but hey, if Mexico continues to have problems with Osorio and Sweden struggle to score goals, these guys could slip in.